Take 3. Let's see if I'm going to be successful this time. It's Mercury retrograde. Everything will last more. So guys, it was my intention not to give you guidelines for, hey, you know, this is the general energy. But as I was shuffling and just trying to kind of really meditate on the cards and meditate on signs, well, 3 cards jumped out. So that clearly was to me a sign. I saw the sign. So we have Page of Pentacles, we have 8 of Cups, and we have Queen of Wands. So I'm not going to go in majority of the details other than telling you, well, that's really good news. Look at him. He has a map on the bottom. He kind of has a feeling where he wants to go and what he wants to accomplish. After all, this is a pentacle. And look at the tower where he is heading. He is also flipping a coin up in the air, so he is feeling lucky. Pentacle is basically omen of some maybe new financial future. And I know generally it's new year that we make new resolutions, but this seems to me that November will actually push us in that direction. And in fact, more so with 8 of Cups. Look at her, she's leaving. Does she look like that she's missing something? Nope. Nope. Look at this. All of these cups are nice and solid over here. In fact, one of them is still steaming. She just felt, there's something missing. There's a particular spice. There's something that I really want, and I really want to go in that direction. So this is going to be honoring that kind of thing. And then where we are heading, whoa, ladies, if you're a lady, you will be on freaking fire. You will be setting your affairs, you'll be putting things in order, organizing, doing. It's going to get busy. This is very unusual for the end of the year in Northern Hemisphere, because we go, oh my god, it's 4 o'clock and it's dark outside, or oh my god, it's 9 o'clock in the morning and it's dark outside. It's one of those really hard days to get through, but not this time around. If you're a Cat Tarot listener, you are going to be infused with energy. So Queen of Wands, if you're a guy, would mean that you're going to have a woman organizing you. Hey, just bend over. You might be slapped on your tushy. So no, I'm just kidding. Queen of Wands is a really good sign. It means we'll be willing to move further. So there were 3 cards. It was one after another, after another, jumping out. So what I really liked about that is that actually we do not have swords. Yes, I know I'm Aquarius, I'm a sword element, but we are going to do really okay without thinking too much, because analysis paralysis, maybe it lasted for a few months, but this means, hey, I know I have to do slow and steady. I maybe need to get a few more courses, but I'm getting there. I want to better myself, and then put all of things in motion. So before I start with your sign, let me just give you a really quick announcement, which is usually happening at this time of a year. And yes, this is that time of a year. I'm actually producing 3 times the material. So Mercury retrograde, 3 times the material. Well, what could go wrong? But if you guys are curious about the upcoming year, the fashion of the last 2 years, I'm going to do my annual taroscopes. I might shuffle things around a little bit. Generally, there is general info about the upcoming year in terms of numerology. We are entering a year number 4, but the most important thing, we are entering a completely new decade, right? So if you're curious about basically the upcoming year, if you have multiple plans that you want to implement in 2020, you're just not alone. So these predictions will help you a great deal. Of course, a personalized planning is also available, but this one here is now on pre-order. It is for $19.95 for one sign, and it is for $45 for all 12. So that way you can check your ascendant, you can check your moon sign, and yeah, you can just peek in somebody else's future for 2020. So take advantage of this price. So I'll be working on that during the month of November. Hopefully they'll be fully delivered by early December, and then the price will go up, significantly up. So guys, 2020 is very important year because it marks the beginning of that relationship between Jupiter and Saturn conjunction that initiates a 20-year cycle. Well, if this is something that you really take seriously, if you really want to push forward and have this additional kind of like tricks in your pocket, this is the way to go. So just click on the link, or you can also visit me on social media where I'll be advertising this for the next month to come. So, shall we start? Hello Gemini, welcome to your November monthly. So you got a few things here: unrequited love, honeymoon, and playfulness. I don't necessarily like the explanation that the inversion is writing over here. In fact, I have my own explanation for the cards. Unrequited love could have mean that there is like love in your life, but it's not exactly what you really want or what you really need. It's like, sometimes we feel like we are settling, and that's what makes kind of like us air signs a little bit screwy. We have those high ideals, and it's really, really hard for us to ground and kind of like have this, let's say, regular 3D love. Honeymoon really tells me that there is like that, I guess, pushing into, hey, everything has to be nice and fancy. It's almost like what we do for Valentine's Day, kind of like we are forcing things and things are not happening naturally, and kind of like you are not buying into that. And it looks like there is like a bouncing back on your feet, playfulness. We are getting here. That's pretty much you, right? So kind of like how to work around this. So I'm seeing here that it could be fire sign or air sign over here, in particular Aries or Aquarius, that might come to play. So we are going to see how this work out. Clearly you're going to be a flirt this month. Maybe this just simply talks about situation that you have, that maybe you want someone who doesn't want you, and or vice versa, that you feel you want it and you feel almost like a burden on you, or that you're kind of like tired of the situation where you are. So anything kind of like at this stage to move forward would be welcoming sign. So let's see, we have Justice. This is absolutely lovely. This is a karma card. In this particular deck, well, is she really blind? She kind of like looks like that she's peeking through this, and she kind of like sees what she needs to see, right? And she's kind of like ruling this balance over here. This is really lovely card when it shows up for basically on your reading, especially in the central card. So the entire month is going to have this feeling of the balancing act, right? So keep in mind that astrologically this could be a difficult month because Mars is entering Scorpio, and for Scorpio can be sneaky, right? So many signs will feel burdens and feel like you're kind of like running wheels like the hamster and getting nowhere. But you are going to start putting things in balance. So maybe for a while you have tried to kind of like accomplish something. You have tried to go toward a direction, and maybe it was like not, I don't know, successful. Maybe it was like really not working out the way you wanted. This is being crossed with Four of Cups. This really tells me that maybe some of you figure out, well, I'm giving up. I'm tired of everything. I don't want to work on anything. And it was like almost like nothing that could please you. Also that maybe you had that little dimension that you got bored of everything and everybody. Maybe you're just simply overwhelmed, oversaturated, and overexposed. Sometimes like taking yourself back and enjoying very, very simple things. It's okay. I know when I started to learn dancing, teacher said, why don't you go in the beginner's class? And I was like, thought, well, why are you insulting me? I'm that horrible? Because I was already in the expert class. She says, sometimes you find details because you haven't been with me in the beginning class. You just came here later. Maybe you're going to learn certain details. And I didn't go because I'm an air sign, but I did understand what she meant to do. And instead, I did actually study beginning steps on YouTube and actually did clue in the few things that actually could help my West Coast swing. Ta-da! Your card is coming through. I love this card. Not only do we have lovers here and the heat producing, but we have like these two pretty kitty cats showing up and enjoying that warmth and love. This is your sign. So now like we are having Libra coming through. We are having you coming through. So whatever it is, get over it. Yeah, you know what? That was this unrequited love. Maybe you feel that you have tried and that somebody backstab you. You know, when Ten of Swords shows up, this really talks to me about not seeing it. And if an air sign doesn't see it, you know why we don't see it? Because we want to give everything to this person. We want to help. I guess we are the first one to say, hey, what can I do for you? Or you're trying to anticipate what they need. High emotional intelligence, and yet people take advantage of it. So, that's much for people who are saying it's kind of great thing to have high emotional intelligence. You kind of like are basically taking advantage of for being able to read things where the other people just, oh, I don't care. Yeah, you look sad. You look like this. Kind of like do the laundry, do the dishes. Kind of like some people are really that pragmatic. It almost looks like to me, look at this air that is really showing over here. So it is like really something that is conducive to new growth. So you need to really get over this thing, something that is bummed down. Hey, you need to get it out of your system, dance, have a drink or two, watch, do not drive. It's Mercury freaking retrograde. You know this more than anybody else. So Geminis and Virgos, and I know it because I have lots of planets in Virgo, I'm massively screwed up. I also have to warn you, you're air sign. And generally air signs are higher echelon of the elements, right? The air comes the highest because it exists even over how far the fire can actually be. So which means that we are maybe affected a little bit more. So this month, November 20th, it's the end of the nightmare. But for most of people. But Mercury is your ruler, so you might still have some residual kind of like leftovers going kind of like forward. I would really be careful, like 6th to 10th, kind of like plus minus 2 days over that November 8th Friday. This is basically when Sun is driving Neptune. And for you, I really think this is like where this playfulness are getting activated. Maybe the beginning of the month you're walking into this, what the heck, same old, almost like kind of like maybe winter blues, or still under influence of some kind of crapola that happened. And I really think there is like switch in this. Look at here, I have the devil. So that is a little bit of what I want. Maybe some of you feel that you're really settling. Maybe you feel like you're in a loveless relationship. Maybe you feel like you're in a loveless marriage. This card also very frequently shows up where there is somebody else pulling the strings. So you might be dealing with a partner who has somebody else, or you might be dealing with a partner who has an ex, who has such a strong presence that is like really getting on your nerves. It's kind of like, okay, are we together? It just feels like that your ex is continuously present over here. So let's kind of like move on from there. Now what is ahead of you is Four of Pentacles. So now we are having this grounding effect over here. Look at him. He is kind of like stuck. Look at the door. It's kind of closed, but it is closed from the inside. That's the freaking key over here. And Kitty is like, okay, you do whatever you want to yourself. You want to sit on it in a closed room. I need some air. Guess what? You're an air sign. You need to figure out how to get out of it. So now the 2 4s are coming out. Maybe you're feeling a little bit, I guess, pinch financially. You are maybe having bills and you're saying, oh my goodness, it's going to be Thanksgiving, it's going to be Christmas, it's going to be more expenses coming out. Now, full moon is going to happen on November 12th, which is going to be about positioning. It's going to be in Taurus, and it's basically about bounty. But I really think for you it's going to be sometimes like you create more money, sometimes you find money from where you have. It's okay, like I have a very very fast internet. Do I really need it? Or I can shave some money here. Maybe $10 here and $10 there doesn't make much difference, but cumulatively it's going to be different, right? So, and then you have, oh my gosh, you have King of Cups. Okay, let me see what is the rest. This is such a good news, guys. This is about flirting, and that flirting really has to take place. It looks like almost like the whole month. Like, from the 6th on, you are almost like going to kind of like really sail through it, right? You might have a little bit of a rough edge around the 19th, 18, 19th. This is like when Mars enters Scorpio. It might feel like that your charms are like not working on someone, but I would really get over that really quickly, because as soon as like that Mercury moves forward, it's going to be November 20th, you will see that your dates are going to be much nicer. I also see lots of sexting. Devil card combined with this much air, there's like something going on. So be real careful about it. You are being playful. Why I'm saying being careful, because you might be dealing with someone who is maybe a little bit more traditional. You might see that as, well, I don't know if this person is really interested, kind of a thing in me, or it just want one thing and one thing only. You have to be careful, because maybe you have been in such situation and you feel deprived, and now you're hungry, you want to eat, you want that sex, and just make sure that you don't come across the way that you have been treated. So kind of put that in perspective. Your environment is King of Swords. This is very similar to me with Justice over here. I don't know if you guys are going through some legal things. Maybe that's the issue, that there are going to be some kind of bills and expenses. On the emotional front, it looks like you're doing very well. You will really be flirty. I really have to tell you. And you're not getting pages. You're not getting knights. You are getting kings. So you might be completely different. You'll be very soft, and somebody else is kind of like be usually in the mood as you are. And that actually would work very well. And there is Ace of Swords. It's another karma card. And it's like on the same line over here. Ace of Swords to me is the card of victory. It's almost like, look at him. He is capturing thunder. He is kind of like giving something, kind of like, give me that universal power. So to me, this card is the entry from the major arcana to the minor arcana. So it's like kind of like that gateway where you're saying, okay, I can show you, only I can do that, not everybody can do that. This is falling in your category of hopes and fears, meaning like a sword has 2 sharp edges. So this means that you have to kind of like cut something on the inside of you. You have to figure out what is a burden. And I really think this is talking about the security. Maybe you lull yourself, or you're maybe even a little bit wrapped and tight in all kinds of knots. Well, this is what it is. I have to do it this way. You need to think a little bit outside of box. You need to figure out the walls that you have placed, why they're there. If you're with some kind of partner who is I guess, not helping or who is making you nervous, you have to ask yourself, what the hell are you doing there? Like, do you really think that this is it? That's what has to happen? And there it is, Queen of Wands. You're getting such positive energy this particular month. I can totally see that you are dragging into this month something from the past. But I can also totally see this playfulness. Be very, very careful, because the Devil card, which is kind of like over here, is telling me that you feel deprived, especially deprived of sex, and that you really want to make up for it. Because if you really look at this line, there are all majors: the Devil, Justice, and Lovers. So Devil and Lovers, they're mirroring each other, and that's pretty much the same card. Almost like one is good, one is bad. Almost like two sides of a coin, right? So one is like a light side, one is a dark side. And so both of them have this fire, and there's like something going on. So one is channeled, like, I mean, in a good way. There are good choices made. Another one is like there are choices made out of immediate, out of necessity, which kind of like this would be immediate as well. Make sure that you do not sell your soul, because you might be very disappointed, and Justice is looking. You're having two karma cards, not one, two. And it's possibly because Mercury that is working over here, like, I mean, putting their fingers. On top of that, like this month on 22nd, it's turning from Scorpio to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the opposite side to yours, but it's still triggering your party mode, and it's going to be a great time to meet someone. I mean, men might meet somebody who is like, I mean, you have air, you have water, and you have fire. That's going to work very well. You're not going to do well with earth. That's going to be one exception. Of course, on the individual level, this might be different, but that's how I see it now. You need to kind of like figure out how to get out of this feeling of not enough to feeling that you can do it, and that would make this like huge difference. So this also can signify this Venus in Capricorn that's going to happen on November 25th. That's going to be Monday. For you guys, that might, somebody might raise, or you might raise, possibility of a long-term commitment, especially for those of you who are in a relationship. So look at that. You need to choose wisely. You need to make sure that you don't just say yes because you are with someone for 5 years and it's time to do it. You really have to ask yourself, hey, am I happy? Is this person going to make you happy? Or even more so, am I able to make this person happy? It's not a point to put the ring on a finger and then complications start later, and it's just like making it very, very difficult. So I really want to see what is this all about over here for you. So let me see, this like Four of Cups, and already came out Merchant, and I really think this is really connecting on this Four of Pentacles here as well. So it is one of these cards. You have to position it when these cards have been made. So we are talking about 17th, 18th century, right? So merchants were higher middle class, upper middle class, and so basically they were entrepreneurs. And trust me, entrepreneur was not a good word up to 10 years ago. Like, I mean, I remember like 20 years ago, nobody wanted to approve me a credit card. It was like entrepreneur, kind of a thing. But so this is like original mercante, Italian kind of a thing. It represents success and ambition and profits, right? But this kind of like came reversed, right, over the situation over here. So it suggests some kind of like failure. It suggests also against investing. Maybe this is talking about literally money, and you are kind of like saying, that's it, I had enough losses. But this also can talk about a person that somebody had a big impact on you. I also have to warn you that this talks about secret meetings. So we need to talk. If you're somebody's little secret, how does it make you feel? because there are certain things you just cannot do. And as an air sign, you always want more. And it's going to be time that you will just want to move certain things to the next stage. And it almost looks like there is a choice, that everybody here has somebody on the side, which could be kind of like comfortable at some point, but I don't know. This also can talk a little bit about gaining weight. So some of you are feeling, ooh, I have to do something about it, right? Or at the very least, some kind of like metabolic dysfunction. So I would say that you might be dealing with this bitter taste in your mouth, that somebody was not holding up their part of the bargain, right? Or that there is like some kind of like disappointment. But this very, very, very quickly is going to turn around. You might be dealing with Aries as well, so who is kind of like energizing your entire life. Oh, and for those of you who are looking for, oh my goodness, for the bottom card, Judgment is on the bottom, and Judgment is also Karma card. So now you have 3, 1, 2, 3 out of 5. That's big, because look at how many more cards I have in a deck. I also want to get one more card for these two to kind of like get maybe a little bit more information. And there it is, a sweetheart. That is a third party. There is like somebody who's cooking something. It could be you, who is kind of like trying to deliver something half-baked. You really have to think really, really through it, because Mars does enter Scorpio November 18th. That is going to be the turnaround point. For you, it's going to be very flirty. You are going to be all about that. But it also can be very deceptive. It also can feel that people are doing things behind your back. It's going to feel that you kind of like need to watch it. It's going to feel, oh, where do I go from here? So keep that in mind. Put that in perspective, right? Gemini, also, don't forget, this is a general reading, and if you want to stay on general reading level, also check your ascendant and check your moon sign. It's going to give you more information. And if you want private reading, visit me at my website, cattarot.ca. All the stuff is down in the description. And don't forget to order my annual taroscopes. They kind of like are going to give you a leg up on new decade and at least new 2020. I drawn one card for you to seal the reading. And the card that you got is Ghostlands. But it was reversed. So I'm going to read it for you. It says this: when the Ghostlands card appears reversed, it is a sign that you're wandering in an emotional or intellectual place with no real substance. There is no point longing for that which has already gone or hasn't happened yet. Perhaps you have created a fantasy of the good old days, or some elusive utopian destination that lies somewhere in the future when this or that happens to make things better. Live one day at a time. Each day is a new beginning filled with truth and beauty. Stay away from the ghostlands of past and future. Avoid nostalgia. That's going to be tough during Mercury retrograde, especially for you. But that's what Doctor is ordering. And also avoid longing for something better. Find joy in what is present in your life today. So it's more or less summarizing that, not making demands and allowing certain things to sort themselves out. Because you will be kind of like on a teeter-totter. Like, what do I do? Yeah, I want sex. You might almost have two choices. And one person could be super sexy. We, air signs, find water signs very sexy. But they're not really good for us. On the other hand, it's going to be some other person over here who is kind of like somebody you can bounce off ideas, and they text you. They are quick and fast in the response. But it's kind of like too much. It's almost like it's not provoking that sexual chemistry in it. So both of them are actually really good for you. And it's going to be a really tough choice. I cannot even say which one you should choose, because I guess different strokes for different folks. You do have lots of air. It's almost like this air box over here. It almost looks like that some of you just walked out from something with an air sign and you're like, bleh, air sign, never again. So as I said, it might be a little bit more challenging if you're dealing with earth sign, but air sign, water sign, fire sign, all the way forward. So do not let the past hinder you. Do not make overly big plans for the future. But having said, something may just surprise you. As I said, or going forward from November 25th, it might be some kind of talk of commitment. So hopefully this was helpful, my dear Gemini. I'm looking forward to your comments, and please like. At least this is what you can do. It's exactly 1 penny. And until the next time, I wish you all the best.